This is the fourth gate of Kammasaka Zen, known as the monetary ritual. This is Dharma talk number 3, known as Unveiling the True Self, the journey beyond illusion. In the heart of Zen, the quest to unveil the true self, it's a profound exploration of the essence of existence. It calls for a journey beyond the layers of illusion, beyond the layers of ego, and to discover the fundamental reality of who we truly are. And unlike many philosophical or spiritual traditions that seek to define or build up the self, Zen invites practitioners to deconstruct it, peeling back the layers of conventional thought, habitual patterns, and false identifications. So Zen is not a religion of dogma or belief, but a practice that points directly to the mind, helping us to awaken to the true nature of our existence. The notion of the true self in Zen transcends any conventional understanding of identity. It's not an entity that can be named or grasped or even intellectualized. Instead, it's a living, dynamic, and ever-present awareness that exists when the mind is free from delusion. The illusion of the ego. In the teachings of Zen assert that much of human suffering stems from attachment to this false sense of self, often referred to as the ego. The ego is a construct of the mind, built upon past experiences, past desires, past fears. It is the identity we create made up of labels, roles, and narratives about who we think we are. And the egoic self is constantly grasping for validation and security, defining itself in opposition to others, and struggling to maintain a sense of control over an impermanent and unpredictable world. In Zen, this constructed self is seen as a barrier to the true self, which lies beyond the grasping mind. So the ego operates in dualistic thinking, creating a separation between subject and object, self and other. The duality is the root of samsara, the cycle of suffering and delusion that keeps us as individuals trapped in a perpetual search for fulfillment outside ourselves. The Zen approach to unveiling the true self is not to destroy the ego, but simply to see through it. The ego is not an enemy to be vanquished, but it's a misunderstanding to be corrected. And it's in this light Zen practice becomes a way of recognizing the illusory nature of the ego and the limitations it impresses on our experience of reality. When we release our attachment to the ego, we begin to glimpse a deeper, boundless awareness. a deeper, boundless awareness that is the true self. So, the true self in Zen is often described as no self, anatta in Pali, or anataman in Sanskrit, a term that points to the emptiness of inherent existence in any fixed separate self. This is not nihilism, as some might assume, but it's a radical affirmation of the interconnectedness of all life. So, in Zen, the true self is not a static existence or static essence, but it's a dynamic, ever-changing flow of life itself. It is the awareness that is present in every moment, prior to the thoughts, emotions, and sensations that arise. They arise and they pass away. Impermanence. Now, D.T. Suzuki, a renowned scholar in Zen Buddhism, described the true self as nothingness, which is something. And it's this paradoxical expression points to the non-dual nature of the true self, which cannot be pinned down by conceptual thought. It is neither something nor nothing, but the ground of being that transcends all dualities. The true self is always present, even in the midst of confusion and delusion. It is simply obscured by the layers of conditioning and habitual thinking that cloud our perception. So in the tradition of Zen, we use many metaphors to describe the true self. Probably one of the most famous is the image of a mirror. The mirror which reflects whatever appears before it, and it appears without clinging or rejecting. So the mirror symbolizes the clarity and stillness of the true self, which reflects all phenomena without becoming entangled in them. And just as the mirror remains unchanged by the image that it reflects, the true self remains untouched. It remains untouched by the changing circumstances of life. Maybe another powerful metaphor is that of a stone in a river, which slowly but inevitably is shaped by the flow of the water. In this image, the stone represents the true self, while the river symbolises the passage of time and the currents of life. The stone is gradually worn down by the river, just as the true self is shaped by the experiences and the challenges that we encounter. Over time, we are refined, not by holding on to a fixed identity, but by allowing the flow of life to reshape us in ways that we cannot anticipate. So the path to unveiling the true self in Zen practice offers a direct path to unveiling primarily through Zazen, seated meditation, koans, paradoxical questions or statements, and the practice of mindfulness in everyday life. It all keeps coming back to mindfulness and daily practice. And the essence of Zen practice is to return again and again to the present moment, where the true self is revealed. So it's in Zazen, or sitting meditation, it's the cornerstone of Zen practice. It involves sitting still, observing the breath, allowing thoughts, emotions and sensations to arise and pass away, without attachment or aversion. So in Zazen, practitioners cultivate a state of just sitting, shikantaza, where there is no goal or purpose other than to be just fully present. In this state of open awareness, the true self can be experienced directly, free from the distortions of conceptual mind. And it's through regular Zazen practice that the habitual identification with the ego begins to loosen. The practitioner comes to see that thoughts and emotions are just simply transient phenomena, like clouds passing in the sky. They are not the true self, but merely expressions of the conditioned mind. And as this insight deepens, the practitioner becomes less reactive and more centered, able to respond to life with equanimity and clarity. So another essential tool in Zen is koan practice. These are paradoxical statements or questions that are designed to challenge the habitual ways of thinking and to force the mind to move beyond dualistic reasoning. As I've used in previous videos, a famous example of this koan is, what is the sound of one hand clapping? Koans, they can't be solved through intellectual analysis. They require a deep intuitive response that comes from beyond the conditioned mind. So the purpose of working with the koan is to break through this conceptual mind and to access the direct experience of reality. And it's in this process of wrestling with a koan that the practitioner comes face to face with their own delusions, comes face to face with their own attachments. And when the koan is finally solved, it is not an intellectual solution, but rather is an experiential breakthrough in which the true self is revealed. So while koans and zazen are formal practices, Zen also emphasises the importance of mindfulness in everyday life. In Zen, every moment is an opportunity to practice a glimpse of the true self. whether we are simply washing the dishes, walking out in nature, or simply engaging in conversation with others. Each activity can become a doorway to the present moment. And the famous Zen master, Master Thich Nhat Hanh, teaches the practice of mindfulness as a way of returning to the true self. He often speaks of washing the dishes to just wash the dishes, meaning that when we are fully present in the act of washing dishes, without thinking about the past or the future, then we are in touch with the true self. And it's this practice of mindfulness that helps to break the habit of distractions and brings us back to the reality of the present moment, where the true nature actually resides, in the present moment. So in the experience of unravelling the true self, we need the understanding that it's not a dynamic or otherworldly experience. Rather, it is a return to the simplicity and the immediacy of life as it is. Zen teacher Shunryu Suzuki famously said, "Each of you is perfect the way you are. And you can use a little improvement." This statement captures the paradox of Zen. The true self is already whole and complete, yet there's always room for deepening and refinement. So, in moments of awakening, there is a profound sense of interconnectedness and peace. And the boundaries between self and other dissolve. And the practitioner experiences life from a place of openness and compassion. This does not mean that challenges or difficulties disappear, but by the way they are experienced tends to change. Instead of reacting from the ego, there is a spacious awareness that can hold whatever arises without resistance. So, to conclude, unveiling the true self is the heart of Zen practice. It is a journey of seeing through the illusion of the ego and awakening to the boundless awareness that is our true nature. This journey is not about acquiring something new. It's about letting go of what is false and returning to what has always been present. The path to unveiling the true self is both simple and profound. Through Zazen, koans, and mindfulness in everyday life, we can begin to see through the layers of conditioning that obscure our true nature. And as we do so, we come to experience life with greater clarity, compassion, and freedom. Now, the true self is not something that can be grasped or defined. It is the living, breathing awareness that is present in every moment. Present in every moment beyond the limitations of the ego. And when we unveil the true self, we discover that we are not separate from the world, but we are intimately connected with all life. And it's in this realization that we can find peace, we can find joy, and the freedom to live fully in each moment. And that's the fourth gate, second Dharma talk. Thank you for listening.